What's up, guys? We're wondering who's going to say hi first. Are you burping?
Oh, joy.
We have a special guest for you guys at the end of this show. We're going to introduce our interview series that's coming up next.
Yes, Miss Piggy's in town to do that.
Yeah. So today we have a special show for you. What do we got?
We've got the summary episodes of our business finance series. So exciting. You get all the major points to get your business ready, to get the funding you need to grow and scale and just kill it.
Yeah, so we did an entire series a couple weeks back on financing for your business. We went over the different types of financing. We went over how to get financing. We went over when you're ready for financing. And so instead of you going back and having to listen to every single one of those episodes separately, we're just cramming it all into one for you.
We took the best of each episode, put it into one so that you can take what you need to get your business financed and growing.
Yeah, so let's get into it.
Let's go.
The Business Project Podcast.
Business can be complicated.
We break it down so regular people like us
Can understand and find success. I'm John Crespo, accountant and consultant.
I'm Casey Bryant, marketer and event planner.
If you run a business
or want to run a business,
welcome to the show. Oh man, I'm so excited about this topic. If anybody has been on YouTube or has been on social media, you see all of these gurus out there giving tips and steps on how to become a business credit, how to get so much business credit overnight after starting a business. And that has worried me for so long because, there's a lot of people out there that don't really understand what business credit really is and how it can affect your business and really when it is that you should really need it and get access to it and prepare for it. So
typically if they say it's a quick fix, then it's not a long-term solution.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it kind of sets people up for failure, which is something that really bothers me is, we're here to set businesses up for success. Long-term success. And business credit is a long-term process. So there's a lot of planning involved. There's a lot of preparation involved. Like there's so much involved, similar to, trying to grow your business through sales. You got to plan properly on how you're going to utilize the business credit the right way.
You have to put systems in place and you have to know exactly what you need to do in order to make it happen versus just throwing it at the wall and hoping that it works, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'll give you just some ideas of the kind of videos that are out there on like YouTube and social media.
Yeah.
You have these videos that are having businesses do like credit card stacking, where you apply to all these different credit card companies and just get multiple credit cards so that you can accumulate hundreds of thousands of dollars in credit lines via credit card. There's signing up for vendors and stacking things that way. And just, it kind of puts people in a bind that, the conversation should be around, okay, tell me about your business.
Seems kind of gimmicky.
It's very gimmicky.
And isn't it bad to apply to a bunch of credit cards? Because then that hurts your credit, right? Short term, at least.
Yeah, it hurts your personal credit because in the beginning, you have to personally guarantee. And we'll go into that. Really, thebusinessproject.com will actually dive deep into what that actually is. But, your personal credit in the beginning is affected when it comes to trying to get business credit. So that's not spoken about. It's not spoken about how you have to truly prepare yourself, understand how it can affect you personally, and make sure you're setting your business up for success. Yeah.
Can you use personal credit for a business?
Okay. Now, that's a trick question, right? But it's a question that, everybody has, can I use my personal credit for my business? Your personal credit is relied upon to establish business credit in the beginning. Right?
Because that's all they have.
Exactly.
Right.
You haven't generated revenue. You haven't established really the business history, right? For the business to establish credit. And we'll go into the business credit side and how to start establishing business credit too. But you have to heavily rely on your personal credit in the beginning for sure. So making sure you manage that is so important.
So if you're an LLC or a corporation where you're supposed to have that break, right, between your personal and your business, does using your personal credit affect that liability shield?
It does. You're actually, they call it the piercing the corporate veil.
Right.
Yep. You're piercing the corporate veil because you're commingling. Commingling is when you mixing your personal and business transactions and assets together, and then you get confused and you don't know what is what, and then when it comes time to file taxes and you're putting all this stuff, it gets so confusing. It's such the wrong way to really manage your business for the long haul, that the IRS actually created specific rules around not being able to commingle. Like, if the IRS does an audit on you and you're filing your taxes and you're mixing your personal and business assets together, you'll get fined. Let's go back and just redefine exactly what business credit is.
Let's do it.
Yeah, because there's two types. You have business credit and you have commercial credit. So business credit utilizes your personal credit in the decision-making process. So you typically, to get business credit, you have to do something that's called personal guarantee. And we went into that last week, but just touching on it again, personal guarantee is when you yourself are signing as kind of like collateral to the business loan that you're applying for, whether it's a credit card, whether it's a line of credit, whatever it may be. You yourself are saying that if the business can't pay for it, you can come after me because I'll pay for it through my house, my car, whatever it is that I own, or whatever money I have. I'll make sure that I'll make the business good. So that's business credit.
And that's kind of scary too, because sometimes in business, we know things happen that you don't expect. And so if you have it connected with your personal stuff, you might lose all of your personal stuff off of something that happened in business.
Yep, which is why proper planning and preparation is important. Because when it comes to establishing corporate credit, you're gonna go through the business planning process first, right? And through those courses, so that when you get to this, you have a good understanding of everything that's going on that you have to do. Like, you're really going in there with an understanding of your business, how your business is going to be successful, and utilizing that now to establishing that corporate credit. Because the first step, believe it or not, is establishing a legitimate business.
Imagine
it's the
that.
First step.
Yeah, that's a good step. That's one you don't want to miss.
Exactly.
Yeah, establishing a legitimate business.
Yeah, and what does that mean? Like, you're establishing a legitimate business. It's a business that you have a business plan for, right? You've done your market analysis. You're putting all of those steps that we go through in the business project. You're putting those steps into place to create a legitimate business. So that is step number one.
Step two.
Step two is actually form an entity, and we spoke about that a little earlier today. Is form a business entity that can actually create its own history, right? So it's the LLC or the S corporation or the C corporation, whatever, based on the business that you're creating, whatever structure you feel is the right structure for that business, go ahead and create it. Get that tax ID number, register with the state. Every step in that process that you need to go through to register it. All right, and now the next one is get your business bank account. So we spoke about that before, right? So everything is falling into place and it's tying into getting your entity established on its own, right? Having that separate bank account, because you got to separate your personal and your business transactions. The business truly has to create history with the bank that it has the relationship with. And the only way to do it is to make sure your transactions are flowing through that particular account. So creating that business bank account is crucial. If you don't have a business bank account, you're not going to get commercial credit, because most of the companies want to see bank statements. A business bank statement, not a personal bank statement. They want to see a bank statement. And now this one is a big one, right?
Step four is a big one?
Step four is a big one. Because this is where you're truly creating that account. And it's, you ever hear of Dun & Bradstreet?
Mm-hmm. They're like your credit score company for businesses, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So Dun & Bradstreet has this score model called Paydex. They create the Paydex score. And that is what most businesses, most government entities look at when they want to use you. If they want to hire you for something, you want to get a contract, you want to get win a bid or something, you got to have a Dun & Bradstreet profile set up.
So you apply for it.
Yes. And it's free. So there's a free version of Dun & Bradstreet, which is important. You go to their website, they're going to want to offer you some additional services. Some might make sense for you, some might not. But there's a free profile. You just create your business profile, and it'll give you the Dun & Bradstreet number. It takes typically about 30 days to get that number. But you want that Dun & Bradstreet number.
Yeah. Okay. So you go on, you apply, and then you get the number. And then how does your business credit? Do you have to like report things to them when you do things, or they automatically pull that for you?
Well, that's where when you're out there seeking loans and relationships with vendors or the types, you want to make sure that they report, that those are vendors that actually report to Dun & Bradstreet.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So they give you credit, and then they report it to Dun & Bradstreet,
Yeah.
and then they keep up with it.
Yep.
Okay.
Next thing is, establish a business credit card with the bank that you have an account with.
So this is step 5.
Yeah.
Establish a credit card.
Establish a credit card. Now, this is going to be more on business credit side because you're going to personally guarantee this business credit card. But these cards also report to
Dun & Bradstreet.
Dun & Bradstreet.
Okay.
Yep. Now, there's other business credit reporting agencies out there that will automatically create accounts for you and start pulling your information. So you have the Equifax, you have the Experian business credit agencies as well. So you create your Dun & Bradstreet account, all of a sudden these guys are going to see you out there.
They want a piece of it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they're going to create profiles for you. And some businesses are starting to use that as well. I wrote a list because there's a lot in it. So I want to make sure that I hit the points and make sure that I'm giving you the information that you can make the list as well. So I guess first off, let's just list out what the 5 C's of credit stand
Let's do
for.
it.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. Number 1.
Constitution. I can't even think of 5 C's. That one.
Constitution. Whoa, I love that. Your business should have a constitution.
Yes.
You should.
Yeah.
Make it for the people. All right. Number 1 is character.
Character.
Yep.
Okay, that's good.
And I'm just going to say that. Number 2 is capacity/cash flow, right? Capacity, cash flow. Number 3 is capital. Number 4 is conditions. And number 5 is collateral. So, character, capacity, capital, conditions, and collateral. Did you write that down? So, character is like your resume, right? When you go, they want to know, the institution wants to know about you. They want to know your history. What else do you think falls in character? How do you think they get your history?
If you've paid your bills or not,
How do they get that information?
or if you have a lot of credit.
You just said the word right there, credit.
Credit.
Yeah, they pull your credit. So the first step is credit. And we've been speaking about this in the beginning. You have to make sure your credit is at the level it needs to be to even start the conversation.
Your personal credit.
Yeah.
Or your business credit. Because
Both.
we're both of them.
Yep. So number 2 is capacity/cash flow. What do you think that means?
Capacity/cash flow. I think that is how much you're able to, what you have already.
Yeah.
How full is your bucket?
How full is your bucket? How much cash is coming through your accounts? What is your capacity or your ability to repay this loan? Are you generating enough revenue to repay this loan? Banks obviously they want to know that, because if they're giving you money, they want you to pay them back with interest.
Yeah, that's the important part.
Yeah. They want to make their money.
Right.
It's how they're in business. What do you think capital means?
How much capital you have? What do you have in your bank? And how many assets do you have?
Yeah, and it's more for the down payment, right? Because if you're buying a property, the bank will lend you a certain loan to value. They won't lend you the whole amount, right? So you got to come with, I would say capital is more the skin in the game.
That's what I was just going to say. You got to have some skin in the game.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. They want to see that you are invested into this project or this package, this loan that they're giving you, so that they know that you really want to make sure it's successful and you're going to be able to pay them back. That you're going to do everything in your power to make sure that you're able to pay that back.
Conditions.
Conditions. That's a good one. What do you think that means?
I think, is that the conditions of the loan? So how much you're putting down, how long you have to pay it back, what the interest rate is.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the conditions?
Yep. It has a lot to do with that.
Okay.
So the conditions are, they look at the condition of your business, right? The condition of the environment, the condition of the loan. It's really how the loan is going to be structured. And they take into consideration the environmental impact. You know, what's going on in the economy right now? Interest rates are high, right? Interest rates have gone up because there's a lot of risk in the economy right now because it's slowing down, right? We're going into a recession. I personally feel we've been in a recession since summertime. But now it's really starting to feel the effects on Main Street. Although honestly, I think Main Street's been feeling it since the summertime. Right?
I agree.
Yeah. But now it's actually moving up the ladder. So everybody else is now starting to feel it. But banks take that into consideration. You know, the condition of the economy, the condition of your business, and that determines the rate, the term, and the payback structure of the loan. Conditions. So that's 4.
Collateral.
Collateral. Yep. What do you think the collateral is?
What you have to put up to back it up.
Yeah. So, you know, it's similar to, what was it? Capital, right? Capital is how much cash you're putting up. Collateral is what asset are you putting against the loan? So
Can
are you
cover
getting
it.
Yeah. So are you buying a loan? Are you getting the loan to buy property? That property is the collateral. Are you getting a loan to buy equipment? The equipment is the collateral. So it's the asset that you're putting up against that loan. The particular type of financing that a business can go for is SBA. Everybody's heard of SBA.
Small Business Administration.
Yep. When I'm speaking to clients, the first thing they ask for is, how can I get an SBA loan? You know, or I want an SBA loan. And, you know, because everybody just knows about it. So the SBA is a government-backed loan. You don't go to the SBA directly to get the loan, right? It's done through a financial institution. A lot of people don't know that, except for like the past couple of years because of COVID and things like that. The SBA did administer the PPP loan and the loan, well, PPP forgiveness loan, because those were able to be forgiven. And also it's called the EIDL, because those were part of the rescue package that was put together because of COVID. So the SBA administered that directly. So aside from that, if you want to go to the SBA and get a loan from the SBA, you got to do it through a bank or a online lender. So the next one is like a traditional bank loan.
Okay.
That's where you go to the bank and you ask them for money, right? Now, what's good about traditional bank loans is that some banks, you don't need 2 years in business to be able to get a loan from them. They'll provide startup funding. It's not going to be a lot of money, but they'll make a decision based on your personal credit score. And if you have income coming in from like other avenues, other sources, they'll give you a credit card and they'll give you a line of credit or a small term loan to help start your business. So the next one is online loans.
Online. So we talked about SBA, we talked about traditional, and now we're talking about online loans.
Yeah.
So what is an online loan?
Recently, I would say that within the last 10 years, there's been a trend in what's called fintech companies. You ever hear of fintech? Financial technology, right? They break it down to fintech. These are online lenders. They're not banks, although there are some online banks, right? There are an example of online bank is like, you ever hear of a Chime?
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was super bummed. We had an online bank called Simple.
Oh, yeah, Simple.
It was the best thing in the world, and they sold it, and then the company that bought it shut it down. And I can go into a whole rabbit hole about that, but it was great for users.
Yeah.
But that was an online bank, yeah.
Yeah, online banks and online lenders, you know, those are created in a way to provide like easier access to funding. So a lot of them just look at your bank statements, and when making the decision, you don't necessarily need 2 years of bank returns or 2 years of tax returns.
Right.
You can just use like 3 to 6 months of bank statements. They really base their decision on cash flow and credit. So a lot of them are personally guaranteed loans as well.
Okay.
But your credit they're more flexible on credit, so they will lend to lower credit tiers. So if you're like in the 600s, you have a good chance of getting a loan from an online bank as long as you have good cash flow. The next group, which is great, is called micro lenders. I'll give you an example.
Never heard of that one either.
Micro lenders are nonprofits. These are nonprofit lenders.
Okay.
And a lot of them get their funding from the government. From the government, or local investors will fund these nonprofit lenders, and they deal a lot with they have different categories of borrowers. So some of them are maybe geographically based. So depending on where you live, they'll lend to you. So local in Tennessee, we have a company called Pathway Lending, and they deal with just the state of Tennessee. So if you're in the state of Tennessee, you own a business, you can reach out to them, and they'll help startups all the way up to established businesses. And their criteria, they are more educationally based. So they'll make sure that your business plan is right. Like, they kind of will guide you through the process because of the nonprofit status that they have. They have to be more educational around it. But they give you access to up to maybe about 250,000. Some do less, but I think I've seen some go up to 250,000. Those are micro lenders. So look in your state, wherever you live, and do a search for micro lenders near me, right? And you'll find the ones that are local to you, and then you'll see what they lend against. So it's definitely worth checking out. All right, next one is merchant cash advance. This is kind of like the fund box as well,
okay,
right? Mm-hmm. Because merchant cash advance gives you funding based on your cash flow. So they'll do an aggregate, they'll do your average cash flow, monthly cash flow, and they'll lend you up to a percentage of what you bring in on a monthly basis. But these are high interest loans. So these are more, I like to call them alternative financing options. This is great for if you have that project coming up, that you need to get access to funding quickly, that you can pay back quickly, because this is more short-term funding. Very rarely do they go longer than a year in being able to use. Some of them are lines of credit that you can keep on accessing if you want to, but I've never seen a term or a lot of them that go longer than a year payback. So there's short-term financing options. Now, some asides that's not traditional financing or bank financing, you can have an investor, right? You can do investor financing. You can do crowdfunding as options. And I think we spoke about this probably in the first episode of the series.
Right.
Different types. But those are some ones that are just non-traditional. You get an investor, they want either equity or they want a term.
Like a lender.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or you can do a combination of equity and term, which is another pretty flexible or creative option. So there's so many ways to go about getting financing for your company. Have you planned properly around what approach you want to take?
Yeah. And you have to have all these things that we talk about, you have to have in place when you go to an investor or when you go to a bank. They're not going to lend you money just off of your brilliant idea. You might think that your idea is amazing, and it might be amazing,
yep,
but you have to have the numbers and the plan to back it up. Otherwise, nobody's going to give you some money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What's going on, everyone? We have a special guest in the building, Miss Piggy, a.k.a. Joy.
Say hello, Joy. She is introducing our interview series with us. We're going to have guests in the studio.
And our special guest, Joy, is here to just kick it off. This is exciting.
She's going to break it in for us.
Yes.
Help us get the practice.
This series is going to be amazing. We have industry professionals that are going to share their insights with us. They're going to share their journeys and just give us some nice tidbits that we can use to grow our businesses.
Yeah.
So what do you say, Joy?
She says, just keep feeding me the treats and I'll sit here and look pretty. So when we come back for the next series that starts next week, there's going to be an extra person sitting in a seat, just like Joy. It's going to be so fun.
It's going to be exciting. So join us as we interview, again, some industry professionals, and we're excited to just share what they have to offer.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
We'll see you next week.
See you next week.